Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is brought to you by Cloud with Shad. Today, we're going to be talking all about AWS database services. But, rather than just reading dry facts from a textbook, we're going to do something a bit different in this explainer. We're going to tell a story. If you're new to cloud computing and you're looking to break into tech, honestly, the absolute best way to remember these services for your cloud practitioner exam is to see how they solve real-world problems. So treat this explainer like our digital whiteboard, where we're going to map out an incredible business journey together. Okay, let's dive into this. Imagine you start a simple little provision shop right in the heart of Accra. You sell everyday items, right? Milk, bread, soap. At first, you can literally just write down your sales in a paper notebook. But soon, your shop becomes incredibly popular. You start thinking about opening new branches, crossing borders, maybe eventually becoming a massive global enterprise. Well, at every stage of that massive growth, your little paper notebook is absolutely going to fail you. You're going to need different types of digital databases to handle different jobs.
So, let's look at our timeline. In year 1, we start right there in Accra. By year 3, business is absolutely booming, and we're expanding out to Kumasi and Tamale. By year 5, we're crossing borders into the massive market of Lagos, Nigeria. And by year 7, wow! We're scaling globally, opening a huge flagship supermarket all the way in London. As our business successfully expands across West Africa and eventually to the UK, our data needs are going to change drastically. We're going to need specific cloud database solutions to handle all our inventory, our customer data, and our global sales.
But, before we go any further, let's quickly define what a database actually is. Very simply put, a database is just the foundational record-keeping system for our Accra shop. It's a structured system used to store, manage, and retrieve information electronically. It basically ensures that every single item in your store, every price tag, and every single sale is tracked perfectly so you never lose money or miscount your stock. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the world of databases is broadly divided into two main families. You've got relational and you've got NoSQL. Think of relational, or SQL databases, as your strict accounting books. They use tables, rows, and columns. Everything has a very strict rule, a strict schema, which makes them perfect for complex transactions where you literally cannot afford a single cent to go missing. On the flip side, NoSQL databases are all about flexible structure and high speed. They don't force your data into rigid tables. Instead, they scale horizontally by just throwing more servers at the problem, making them incredibly fast for things like mobile apps and shopping carts. So, back to our story. Our Accra shop is doing great, and it's time to open those new branches in Kumasi and Tamale. Our data is getting complex, and we really need a proper, strict accounting system. Enter Amazon RDS, which stands for Relational Database Service. I want you to think of RDS like renting a beautiful, professional office space where AWS is your landlord. The landlord handles all the heavy lifting, the maintenance, the security patching, the hardware backups, all of that, so you can just focus on running your actual business. And for your test, here's a massive exam reminder. Whenever you see RDS, it means Managed Relational Database. Okay, so now that we have branches in Kumasi and Tamale, our database is getting a ton of traffic. How do we scale our RDS? Well, we've got two amazing tools for this, Multi-AZ and Read Replicas. Multi-AZ is all about high availability and automatic failover. Think of Multi-AZ like having a backup studio for a radio station. If the main studio suddenly loses power, the backup studio instantly takes over, so the broadcast never stops. Read Replicas, on the other hand, are strictly for read performance. Imagine a super busy restaurant at lunchtime. Read Replicas are like opening extra serving counters so customers get their food much faster. So here are your critical exam reminders. Multi-AZ means high availability and failover. Read Replicas mean read performance. Fast forward to year 5, and we're crossing borders into the massive, bustling market of Lagos. We are going to need some serious power for this. And that brings us to two absolute AWS powerhouses, Amazon Aurora and Amazon DynamoDB. Aurora gives you the absolute best relational database performance on AWS, period. It's fully compatible with MySQL and PostgreSQL, and it securely stores 6 copies of your data across 3 availability zones. DynamoDB, however, is your serverless NoSQL option. It offers single-digit millisecond latency and scales automatically without you having to manage any servers. Remember these for the exam, guys. Aurora means best relational database performance. DynamoDB means serverless NoSQL with millisecond latency. So the crucial point is how we handle the totally unpredictable nature of massive markets like Lagos. I mean, sometimes you have crazy sales traffic, and sometimes it's dead quiet.
Well, Aurora Serverless is your go-to relational database for unpredictable or variable workloads, simply because it automatically starts up, scales, and shuts down based on exactly what you need in that moment. And DynamoDB? Think of DynamoDB like a lightning-fast mobile money agent on a super busy street corner. No matter how long the line gets, that agent moves incredibly fast, processing rapid transactions in milliseconds without a single hiccup. Year 7 is finally here, and our business is opening a massive branch in London. Now we need global reach and unbelievable speed. To keep our London branch perfectly synced with our West African stores, we use DynamoDB Global Tables, which gives us multi-region active-active replication. For even more speed, we use DAX, giving DynamoDB microsecond read performance. We also introduce Amazon Elasticache. Here's your exam reminder. Elasticache means in-memory cache. It's exactly like keeping your most popular food ready in a warmer during the lunchtime rush hour. So when a customer asks for it, bam, you serve it instantly without having to cook it from scratch. And this brilliantly illustrates our next point. Now that we're this global enterprise with branches in Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, Lagos, and London, the CEO wants to see the big picture. We need Amazon Redshift. Redshift is a petabyte-scale data warehouse used for business intelligence and what we call OLAP analytics. Think of Redshift like a massive boardroom where you're analyzing years of sales data from all your branches combined, just to find hidden trends. But remember this for the exam, Redshift means data warehouse and OLAP analytics. It is strictly for analysis, not for your daily, second-by-second transactions.
Now, sometimes you run into very specific data problems that require AWS's purpose-built databases. Let's run through these quickly. If you have MongoDB workloads, you use DocumentDB. If you're tracking graph relationships, like for a social network, you use Neptune. If you need financial records that absolutely cannot be tampered with, you use QLDB. It's essentially a secure record book that nobody can secretly change. For tracking things that happen continuously, like recording electricity meter readings every single minute, you'd use TimeStream. For Cassandra workloads, you use Keyspaces. And finally, for a durable Redis-compatible database, you've got MemoryDB. Let's move to and see how this builds into our next challenge. As we acquired smaller shops during our huge expansion, we naturally had to move their old databases into AWS. This is exactly where database migration services come into play. If you're moving from, say, an old Oracle database to a shiny new Amazon Aurora database, you need 2 steps. First, AWS SCT, the schema conversion tool, translates the database structure to the new engine. Then AWS DMS, the database migration service, safely moves the actual data over. So for your exam, DMS plus SCT is used for different engine migration. But DMS alone is used if you're migrating to the exact same engine, like moving from MySQL to MySQL. Okay, running a global supermarket chain across West Africa and London isn't cheap, so we absolutely must optimize our costs. First off, always right-size your instances. Don't pay for a massive server if you only need a small one. And of course, delete unused resources. If you know you're going to be running a database for years, use reserved instances to grab a massive discount. For those totally unpredictable traffic spikes we talked about in Lagos, stick to Aurora Serverless and DynamoDB on demand. And always track your spending using AWS Cost Explorer, budgets, and by tagging your resources so you know exactly which branch is spending what. What an incredible journey, right? From a single little shop in Accra all the way to a global enterprise in London. Let's wrap this all up with our golden rule, and I quote, "Databases are not one size fits all. Choose RDS for SQL, Aurora for best relational performance, DynamoDB for serverless no SQL speed, Elasticache for caching, Redshift for analytics, and purpose-built databases for special data problems." Keep these stories in mind, and I promise you will absolutely crush your exam. As you build your own business, ask yourself, what kind of data challenges will your next big idea face, and which database will you choose to solve them? This is brought to you by Cloud with Shad.